If you sit down.
Where do you want me coming in from?
First decade of hip hop. Scene 1, take 19.
My name is Dean Rudland. What was I going to say? Oh!
Keep going.
No. Oh, sorry, I just did that. Hi, I'm Dean Rudland, and for the last 30 years I've been compiling albums. Yo! Oh no!
And I was thinking...
Mummy's going out for a walk. What about you? Hi, I'm Dean Rudland, and I have been curating compilation albums for all of my adult life. I have a deep passion for the history of black American music, particularly from the 60s through to the 80s. My new project and latest project is Dollar Bill Yule, the first decade of hip hop. A look at what Spring Records did from when they released the first hip hop record in 1979 with the Fatback Band's King Tim 3, through to when they closed their doors a decade later, and that label's strange and inconsistent relationship with the hip hop.
We're doing it all just for you. We're strong as an ox and tall as a tree. We can rock it so viciously. We throw the highs in your eyes, the bass in your face.
New York in the 1970s is a place of legend. It was a city that was falling apart, with declared bankrupt midway through the decade, political corruption, murders, poverty, the Bronx burning as rogue landlords took insurance money by burning down buildings rather than fixing up and taking the rent. It was a city that might never have come back, and with all cities like that, interesting art. So you had things like you had the Factory and Warhol downtown. Uptown, you had African American and Latino kids coming up with music and ways of entertaining themselves that existed at the margins. Hip hop as a music itself developed out of a hip hop culture of graffiti, dances played by DJs, all stemming from the 1973 passes that an expat Jamaican called Cool Herc threw at the Sedgwick's buildings in the Bronx. Herc developed a way of playing where he noticed that the dancers were dancing to a particular part of a record. The record would reach a point, and that point would be the greatest moment of engagement with the dance floor. And he got to thinking, he thought, why don't I just play that part? You know, the drum break from Bongolia or Bongo Rock by Apache, or you know, the organ from Champ, or hundreds of things. You know, the breakdown in It's Just Begun. These things created a party scene, and other people copied him. And you've got people like Africa Bambaataa with the Zulu Nation, Grandmaster Flash, working on these things, coming up with ways of putting the music together in the halls, clubs, and often in street parties, you know, block parties that would go on in the hot summers in the Bronx, Brooklyn, and in Harlem. These events could get thousands of people at some points, and it made people who were in the music industry in New York start to think, how could I make this happen? And there was a number of people who were trying to work out a way. One of those was Bill Curtis, who was the leader of the Fatback Band.